Audi A6 C7 came on the market in 2011 when it replaced the previous Audi A6 C6. This is the fourth generation of this model. In 2014, it underwent a restyling that brought changes to the design and some modernizations on a technical level and in the interior. It was produced until 2018 when it was replaced by the new generation Audi A6 C8. Let's see the Audi A6 C7 review with the most important information, faults and common problems. Audi A6 C7 is a high-end car that is part of the E segment. We have already said that this is the fourth generation of the A6, but in fact this is already the seventh generation of the model. However, the initials A6 began to be used only from 1994. First, it was the Audi 100 model. On the second-hand market, there are numerous cars that are well equipped and at relatively low prices. Thus, the desire to buy this premium model arises in the hearts of many car enthusiasts. But here you have to be careful. The car is still recent, but the rich equipment and modern technologies do not always demonstrate great reliability and long life. In this, we will see if the maintenance costs will not be exaggerated to use a similar car. We immediately advise you not to save money during the purchase and look for an example in good condition by following our advice. The Audi A6 C7 is based on the modular MLB platform, which it shares with its sister Audi A7. In reality, thanks to its wide modularity, the same platform is also used on the smaller Audi A4B8, the larger Audi A8D4, the Audi Q5 SUV, and many other models. The platform is traditional for this German manufacturer, with a longitudinally installed engine and with front-wheel drive. It was optionally possible to mount the Quattro all-wheel drive. The Quattro all-wheel drive system is one of the best on the market. This ensures optimum driving stability, maximum wheel grip, as well as an additional dose of sporting emotion. In addition, the Audi A6 C7 has seen significant evolution and has begun to mount the torque vectoring system, which mounts a new sports rear differential capable of optimizing the distribution of drive torque between the two wheels of the rear axle. It is able to send almost all the driving torque to a single wheel. The body design is undoubtedly beautiful and modern. The aesthetics of the car will remain current for many years to come, as even the younger models respect the same style. Compared to the previous generation, a greater dose of severity is noted. The fourth generation Audi A6 is available in two body styles: sedan, four-door, and Avant, station wagon. The German car has a length of 4,920 mm, a width of 1,870 mm, and a height of 1,460 mm. The wheelbase is 2,910 mm. The weight of the car varies from 1,460 to 1,950 kilograms depending on the version. The interiors are worthy of respect. The excellent ergonomics, the well-made assembly, and the high-quality materials make the passenger compartment very welcoming and comfortable. Inserts made of wood or aluminum look beautiful and combine well. The driving position and general sensations differ little from the larger and more expensive Audi A8. Initially, it seems difficult to understand how to use all the buttons and the different systems, but after a short time, you get used to it and understand the logic of everything. On some elements, serious signs of wear may appear at high mileage. First of all, of course, the most used elements wear out. The steering wheel trim and its buttons, the gear knob, the climate control buttons, multimedia buttons, and more. At high mileages, wear and tear on the seat upholstery is also unavoidable. The good part is that all traces of wear and tear present in the cabin can be eliminated if desired. Some pieces can be replaced, others can be repainted or restored. The soundproofing is very good, and the passenger compartment remains silent in any situation. When the engine is started, the multimedia system screen opens, and when it is switched off, it closes. It can also be closed with a button if necessary. The multimedia system, MMI, multimedia interface, is very convenient and useful. Depending on the version of the MMI, you can have a rotating wheel or the touchpad to control all the functions of the multimedia system. The audio quality is good and gives many satisfactions already on the basic version, but for an additional cost, you could add Bose music or even Bang & Olufsen, which cost a lot as an option. On board, you can watch movies and even work, as the system can have an internet connection via SIM card. The internet can also be streamed to multiple devices simultaneously. In the EuronCap safety test, the Audi A6 C7 got 5 out of 5 stars. Crash safety is quite good, but to decrease the risk you need good tyres. The manual gearbox is very reliable and does not give any particular problems up to high mileage. The main weak point here is the dual mass flywheel, which doesn't have a very big lifespan. When it is worn, it begins to rattle and create vibrations. These can be harmful to other mechanical elements. The cost of a new flywheel will be large. Before restyling, front-wheel drive cars were equipped with Audi's second generation Multitronic CVT of series 0AW/VL381. The Multitronic continuously variable transmission has a reputation for being an unreliable unit. This reputation still appeared in the early 2000s when the gearbox was really problematic. Over time, however, the situation has improved a lot. A modern and robust CVT Multitronic was fitted to the Audi A6 C7. It has been designed to hold engines with a torque of up to 380-400 nanometers, and its structure is well developed. The main problems with the gearbox arise due to poor maintenance or incorrect use. Since this is a particular gearbox, owners can make typical mistakes that spoil it. The CVT does not like skidding, aggressive starts, shock loads, towing heavy trailers, and driving at maximum speed. What's more, this transmission does not tolerate infrequent oil changes, and cars equipped with the Multitronic CVT cannot be towed for long distances. It can only handle movements of a few meters. Infrequent oil changes lead to rapid failure of the solenoids, bearings, and clutch pack. If the car is towed with the engine off, the clutches and cones can be damaged. Among the weak points that can appear regardless of the conditions of use is the weak rotor speed sensor G195. The bad part is that to fix the sensor you have to disassemble the control block and solder the new sensor. The standard heat exchanger usually clogs after about 125,000 miles, and the oil temperature in the gearbox begins to rise. If nothing is done, the gearbox will suffer regular overheating, which will ruin the oil pump clutches and the control block. An already modernised version was installed on the Audi A6 C7, which eliminated some of the shortcomings that existed in the past. The upgraded gearbox received a built-in additional filter for the hydraulic part, improved mechatronics, and an improved sensor unit. Bearings and other parts were reinforced in the mechanical part. The average service life of the clutch has been increased to 75,000 miles, but if all goes well, they can last up to 155,000 miles. The S-Tronic DL501 is a very robust and technically robust gearbox. In fact, it was designed to handle torques of up to 600 nanometers. It can also cope with aggressive driving, but its main enemies are overheating and infrequent oil changes. Everything is connected. During normal use, various residues accumulate in the oil, which clog the heat exchanger and ruin other hydraulic and mechanical parts. Overheating, in turn, accelerates the degradation of the oil, damages the mechatronics, and accelerates the wear of the clutches and other elements. A malfunctioning mechatronics again can ruin clutches and other gearbox parts. After the restyling, the S-Tronic DL382 7F dual clutch automatic gearbox also appeared. This was intended to replace the CVT on front-wheel drive cars and was also fitted to those with all-wheel drive and four-cylinder engines. DL382 has a much lighter mechanical part and completely different mechatronics. Use an electric oil pump instead of a mechanical one. Of course, here too there can be several problems. Sometimes there are problems with oil pressure due to failures of the new pump, various sensors, or the hydraulic accumulator. The new mechanical part did not prove to be too resistant. Due to infrequent oil changes or due to vibrations caused by a worn dual-mass flywheel, the weak bearing of the input shaft can die. On cars with front-wheel drive, the differential bearings are also weak. Even the gearbox management electronics are not perfect. Breakdowns occur regularly, but the price of repairs is generally not too big. The 8-speed Tiptronic automatic transmission has proven to be quite reliable. Knocking or malfunctions can occur, but real cases requiring complex repairs are very rare. The real enemies of this gearbox are infrequent oil changes and overheating. Only these factors can kill it earlier. It is advisable to change the oil at least every 30 to 35,000 miles. Audi A6 C7 can have front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. With front-wheel drive, there are no special problems up to large mileage. The Quattro all-wheel drive also works very well and is quite reliable. Despite the great resistance, however, it cannot be defined as immortal. With the very powerful versions, generally S6 or RS6, failures of differentials and cardan shafts, drive shafts, occur. The protection of the constant velocity joint of the cardan shaft can be damaged after only 5 years of operation. It is best to keep an eye on this element to lengthen the life of the joint. If the need to repair the all-wheel drive system appears, the prices will not be small. The 2.0 TDI EA189 engine initially fitted to the Audi A6 C7 performs very well. It is a modernised version of the engine which has solved most of the initial weaknesses. Of course, it's not completely ideal anyway. The Bosch CP4 high-pressure injection pump could be damaged due to the worn fuel pump in the tank, if the car has suddenly turned off while you are on the road, or if the car simply does not start. In no case should you force it, trying to start it several times. The diesel-free high-pressure injection pump will run dry and therefore wear out. Metal shavings caused by dry running can foul the entire injection system and damage the injectors. The injectors are not repairable in most cases. The final repair cost will be very high. On all engine versions, leaks may appear from under the valve cover. Often the owners consider this problem insignificant, but then regret it when the oil spoils the timing belt and it breaks. For the rest, there may be the typical problems of modern types of diesel: the EGR valve that gets dirty and stops working, and the DPF filter that clogs and causes malfunctions, especially on cars used mainly in the city. After the restyling, the new 2.0 TDI Ultra of the EA288 family arrived. These are also quite reliable, offer good performance, consume little and pollute less. Even here, however, there are some weaknesses. Among the most famous problems are those with the cooling system pump. The pump is made of plastic and has a relatively short life. Some engines also encountered problems with the timing belt tensioner. To solve it, you need to replace the old tensioner with a new, modernized one. Then there will be no problems again. There have been some cases where the metal gasket under the cylinder head has blown on 2.0 TDI EA288 engines. This can generally already happen after 60,000 miles due to aggressive use. In other cases, it happens with larger mileages, about 125,000 miles. The gasket is too thin and does not hold up to aggressive revs. You will understand that this has happened when the engine starts making loud noises as if you have a sports exhaust. The cost of the repair is not low. The 3.0 TDI V6 engines mounted on the Audi A6 C7 can be from the EA897 or EA897 Evo family. On some Audi A6 C7S, weak versions of the engine with only 190-204 horsepower are encountered. The 190 horsepower version was installed on the Audi A6 all-road. Weak versions don't give great performance but will have low consumption. There are also more powerful versions with good performance that offer good thrust at any RPM. At high mileage, usually after 155,000 miles, the 3.0 TDI engine may have problems with the timing system, injection system, and manifolds. In some cases, oil or coolant leaks occur. The modernized engines of the EVO series at the beginning of production could have some childhood problems. For example, due to noise under the hood, the camshafts were replaced under warranty. There have been some cases of oil pump failure even before 30,000 miles. These problems were usually fixed under warranty. The 2.0 TFSI Gen 2 engines presented themselves very poorly from the start. This happened due to the haste that the manufacturer had in their design. In addition to the short life of the timing kit, the soot in the intake that appears due to the direct injection, there are also the large consumption of oil. These are caused by the failed piston assembly, with piston rings not doing their job well. In addition, there is the problem of the oil separator which stops working properly, so oil consumption can further increase. The problem of huge oil consumption was a catastrophe, so the manufacturer did several piston modernizations to try to solve it. Precisely for this reason, there are many versions of pistons. In general, over time, the situation has improved markedly, and engines produced after 2011 can be called reliable. On the Audi A6 C7, mainly modernized engines are encountered, which perform quite well. Ignition coils, oil pump and coolant pump will not last too long. As for the lifespan of Gen 2 units, it's hard to say anything for sure. Modernized engines can even reach 185,000 miles without major problems if treated correctly. The 1.8 TFSI and 2.0 TFSI engines of the EA888 Gen 3 series are very similar both in terms of technical characteristics and in terms of possible problems. They no longer have problems with excessive oil consumption, and also the accumulations of dirt on the intake valves are gone. Accumulations of dirt are avoided thanks to a combined injection system with multi-point injection and direct injection. Unfortunately, there are periodic problems with the balancer shafts, timing chain, and oil pressure. Scratches on the crankshaft are even more common than in the past. This happens due to the new oil pump, which works with adjustable intensity, and in some cases it can be insufficient. Before buying an Audi A6 C7 with a Gen 3 TFSI engine, it will be better to check the condition of the timing chain well. The latter is reliable and has a fairly good life, but with aggressive use, the risk of chain stretching remains. The 2.8 FSI engine is from the EA837 family. The modernized version, second generation of this engine, was already mounted on the Audi A6 C7, which in theory should have solved the old defects. In practice, however, the situation has not improved. Buyers were confident that the naturally aspirated V6 was more reliable than the supercharged engines. Unfortunately, expectations were not met. The aluminum block turned out to be quite sensitive, and the appearance of scratches on the cylinder walls was very frequent. This can happen for several reasons. It usually happens due to a malfunction of the direct injection system, which has not proven to be very reliable. Worn injectors can begin to leak and cause damage to pistons and cylinder walls. A poorly maintained cooling system can lead to overheating and detonation, which in turn will damage the cylinder walls. Due to the direct injection, soot deposits form in the intake. If this ends up in the combustion chamber, there will be great damage. Scratches on the cylinder walls lead to high oil consumption, loss of power, and smoke from the exhaust. But these are only half of the possible problems. The second biggest problem is the very complex timing kit with 4 chains and an AVS system. Around 125,000 miles, it will almost certainly need to be replaced. Its awkward position on the gearbox side requires complex and expensive work. The 3.0 TFSI engine fitted here is from the EA837 family. It is available in two versions, 300, 310 horsepower and 333, which differ not only in terms of power, but also from a technical point of view. The first generation 3.0 TFSI engines have the aluminum block with special coating on the cylinder walls, direct fuel injection, and a Eaton compressor used for supercharging. The main weak point is precisely the lining of the cylinder walls, which fails to hold up over time, and very often scratches are encountered on the cylinder walls. This leads to large oil consumption. The main culprits for the destruction of the coating are low-quality gasoline and the stress of an unheated engine. There are cases where at high mileage the catalytic converters are destroyed, so some particles can end up in the engine and ruin the cylinder walls. Another serious problem is the lengthening of the timing chains. For some reason, on this generation of engines, the engineers decided not to install check valves in the cylinder head and all the oil flows into the sump, so the camshafts run dry on startup and the chain stretches very quickly. It can happen even at 50–75,000 miles. Their duration also depends on the driving style. After restyling, modernized 3.0 TFSI engines of the EVO series appeared. The 333 horsepower version is in fact the evolution of the 300 and 310 horsepower engine, in which many problems have been solved. Now the cylinders have cast iron liners that do not scratch easily, so here the risk of excessive oil consumption has been minimized. At high mileages, however, the risk of destruction of the catalytic converters remains, the particles of which enter the engine and scratch the coating of the cylinders. If you pay attention to this aspect, there will be no problems. Check valves were fitted, so now the chain lives at least 125,000 miles. The injection system here is combined, direct plus multi-point, so the problem of the valves has also been solved. A modernized engine of the EVO series, second generation, can live many miles if treated properly. A first generation one will be a risky purchase. The 4.0 TFSI engines are from the EA824 family. These are bi-turbo V8 engines with direct injection. Already here it is clear that they are modern and complex engines. The Audi A6 C7 with these engines can have excellent performance, and in fact it is no coincidence that this units in the top versions are mounted on the sporty Audi RS6 versions. However, we repeat that to ensure a long life you need to have a lot of attention and care. The 4.0 TFSI engine can't handle poor quality fuel, infrequent oil changes and overheating. If these rules are not followed, scratches may appear on the cylinder walls, which will lead to large oil consumption. Buying a used Audi A6 C7 could be an excellent idea, as the car is still modern and current from an aesthetic point of view and in the interior. The age of the cars for sale is not yet very great, and it is easy to find an example in good condition. The risk, however, lies in the complexity of the vehicle. Before any purchase, it is strongly advisable to carry out a good diagnosis in specialized workshops. A good car will give a lot of satisfaction with great driving pleasure and a good level of comfort. It is a German premium car that you will undoubtedly fall in love with. Also, from the point of view of reliability, the situation is quite good. Of course, there are problematic versions, but there are also very reliable versions with both petrol and diesel engines, both with manual and automatic gearboxes.